Ivo still on that lead lap with 1 minute 47 behind. Ivo still on that lead lap with 1 minute 47. Yep, so a bit unlucky for Lucas again. He's trying everything to get closer to Luigi and then collecting some track limit penalties. So Slipstream in P6, Apex Magnet in P7, Johnny Waffle P8, Adriano 43 seconds. It might bring that gap down to 30 seconds in the end. What a crazy stint again it is for Adriano. 999 BMW for Race Asylum, 4th team entry, and what a run it is again. We'll see penultimate lap on the stint started for Azarian, 1 minute 49. That gap. Where is Ivo? Still on lap 48 in the middle sector. Pole sitter in P3, 1:55. Another mistake by the looks. 4 seconds the gap now between Luigi and Lucas. So we also see, or I see, you don't see it, I see the tire wear is definitely now playing a big factor. And just the link for the next stint. So here we go. At your service in the stream chat. Be sure to head over to GT45 Gaming for that final stint number 12. Slipstream in P6, 16, 17 seconds, roughly at gap. Magnet in P7, Johnny in P8, Adriano 41 seconds, 5 laps to go. Just gaining roughly 2 seconds per lap. Oh, crazy, crazy, crazy. And now let's stay with ORT, 1 minute 50, and starting the final lap of the stint. Very, very soon, out of the bus stop, crossing the start-finish time for the final time for the stint, and now starting that final lap of the stint.
doing?
Hey, back for the final rodeo.
Back
You
for the
can
final
do it.
showdown.
Come on, yeah. Yeah, we were promised some rain. We didn't get it, so I said, "You get all of the weather now in your stint. Trust me."
Not looking good so far. I'm gonna tell you that much right now.
And can someone change the lobby settings, please, to RO8? Fixed weather, please. We need some rain drama for the end. But as a rain is on the final, probably it's too late to restart on that stint 12 lobby now.
Most certainly. Most certainly. All right, welcome in.
Should have something like a commentator's poll option to no, override those settings. We want drama.
Drama settings, please.
Yeah, drama settings enabled. It's too late, Ray. It's too late. You should have prepared for that. Yeah, exactly. Full R8. That's what we want. Come on. It is alright. So, Azarine, last time around, Blanchimont into the bus stop, and then with a 1 minute and 50 gap, handing it over. So basically, we started where we left. It was like 1 minute 50 before the start of that stint, and it is 1 minute 50 after that stint. So basically, nothing changed between the top two cars. It looked promising with a bold strategy from Evo, getting onto the mediums earlier and also pushing in those mixed conditions. But then in dry conditions, was unable to keep up with the pace in his big Corvette D7 car. But here we go. Evo is on that final lap now. We'll be glad when it's over, I think.
I'm sure. Our race leaders now just hitting the racetrack here as well for the final 2-hour push here, ladies and gentlemen. So we've been through 22 and a little bit hours now of up and down, all around, wet and dry racing here at SPA this weekend.
Final hooray, exactly. Let's go.
It doesn't show them in the pits like you would expect, Sam. Leo, just saying. It only shows the car that you're looking at in the pit lane. It doesn't show all the cars in pit lane.
Alright, Evo now coming into the pits 1 minute to that gap after his stint. The next driver will be pole sitter. 47 seconds roughly. Has to serve a penalty on that final lap of his stint. Will probably go up to 48.
Alright, so we should see the Corvette coming out any moment now, I would assume.
You should see it, yeah. So the number 13 is heading into the pits now. 47 seconds, that gap. And then we have to wait for roughly 2 minutes. So Luki P4 started the final lap of the stint with Lucas just 2 seconds behind. So this could get interesting, the 77 and the 218. Every time I go to Lucas when I say he's close, he's carrying a penalty.
You know he's blaming all that on you now, right?
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Stop looking at me. You know it. But,
I didn't
yeah.
pay to watch, so we are square. Leo. Alright, so it is Nick coming out for Esports Race Asylum Corvette. It is Macho Monkey coming back out for the last dash here for Sector 7 Racing as well. The number 13 team, that is.
Yeah.
Bring it home, Joan. Absolutely.
Oh
what
no.
Is that?
Pole sitter exit the pit early. He's trying to hide his car somewhere on track. No, stop driving. Park it. Oh no. I mean, there are very severe rules, by the way, in the rulebook. Even if it's a mistake, we'll probably see those drivers getting a penalty post-race because of that. It's just a mistake that is not allowed to happen. It messes up with the entire setup.
Fair enough.
Very strict stewards.
Fair enough.
With that. So again, so Lugi in the pits, closely followed by Lucas, 3.6 seconds.
Almost there. You betcha, Kings. Almost there. 2 to go. A little less than 2 hours now.
So 1 minute 30 until the next car arrives at the pit entry.
So top 3 definitely, essentially kind of defined here already in this race, it seems like. Really barring any crazy moments on the racetrack here over the next 2 hours, we could potentially be looking at the podium already here. However, with that being said, the wind is fairly significant here. Currently right now at Spa we got 12 meters per second straight south. Last time we seen that wind, it brought a little bit of tease of rain, but that very small tease of rain that crazy wind brought in was about a minute burst of rain, but soaked the racetrack for a good solid 10 minutes. So yeah, we're seeing that wind again. So has the rain just waited to come out a little bit later into the stint here, perhaps?
Slipstream is in for Sector 7 Racing. The number 7 car in. 20 seconds behind. It will be Apex Magnet for MRL. 33 BMW. Oh, slowly driving into the pits. You can just eat it on that final, but it doesn't matter. But don't get a reset. I think this also happened at Road Atlanta last event, where they were too quick, too ambitious going into the pits. Then the game decided, nope, I'm not having it. You get a reset back on track, and you couldn't get back into the pits again. So, also like crazy stuff happening.
Yeah. How about that, racers? Our racers in the chat watching right now. How many times have you been on Spa with 12 meter per second wind? Just saying. that is some serious wind. What did we figure that out to be? Cupcake, and I figured this out a little earlier. That's roughly about 25, maybe a little more mile per hour wind gusts, or a steady wind, I guess, in this sense right now at Spa. So that's a pretty good wind.
Yeah.
Good luck
Wind
to all the
brings
teams.
rain, right? It has to be.
It definitely brings in at least a storm. Whether or not it brings it to the racetrack, I guess, is to be decided. But certainly, definitely, usually, typically bring some weather in with it when you got crazy wind like that. So I guess really what we're watching now is if it's going to be changing a lot of direction here over the next few minutes, over the next few laps. That's kind of again another telltale sign that there's definitely something moving through at least the area. Still not guaranteed though. I mean.
Johnny in the pits for MRL, and look at that, and close that gap to 22 seconds. We were like more than 2 minutes behind, and again another absolute astonishing drive from Adriano. The 999 BMW now heading into pit lane. What a stint again. 1 minute and 3 seconds the gap to camp in P10.
Here we go. Alright, welcome back in, everybody. Hope we're all doing fantastic. We are roughly about halfway through the driver swap process here to, well, bring this thing home for the 2024 season. We have MRL Sean coming out here for the GTR MRL team here as well. Minute 36 and behind Team Car up ahead. And we got the Gov coming out, RA Gov coming out on track here. 6.3 seconds was the gap, but we'll have to wait till that live timing corrects itself, of course. But a couple of close battles immediately here. We got the Sector 7 Renault coming up at pace here, up in behind RA BMW here as well, but they sorted that out quite quickly.
64 is in, and also the loose Racing 35 AMG just entered the pit lane, so that concludes my stream again, once again. Thank you everyone for watching, and now get to the final stint with GT45 game. Brings us home for the 24 hours. Have a good Sunday wherever you are, Monday wherever you are. I don't know what time it is. Probably down under Australia. You're already on a Monday if you're still watching. Take care.
Could be getting close.
Bye.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Jaeger, as always, my guy. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so the awesome and ever so hardworking Jaeger back at it for the last time here for IRO in 2024 himself. So we're down to one lonely stint, one last showdown, one last ride for our teams here competing in the 2024 International Racing Organization GTEC Championship. Final round, final stints, and we are 1 hour, we'll call 1.5 hours away from race finish here. We're not going to see any more fancy gimmicks. We're not going to see any more fancy doodads. This is the only thing we are going to see at the end of this stint is a checkered flag and a champion. And that's it. 22 hours, a whole lot of miles. You got to think, 4.53 miles a lap at, we're just going to call it 50 laps per stint just to make the math easy. I mean, that's 4.5 miles times 50. That's it. So that's 2,000 something miles put on by the drivers here today. Over 600 laps of racing put on by these cars, all these drivers here today as well. And just countless hours of preparation and practice to prepare to lead up to the final 2 hours of the 24 hours of Spa here from IRO. So welcome in. I'm your host to send it on home, GT45 Gaming. We appreciate all the support here this weekend on behalf of the International Racing Organization. Everybody has been top level, absolutely top level. Jumping around to YouTube, jumping to different streams, jumping over to the IRO channel, jumping back over to here, and you guys have been killing it out there all weekend long. So much love to the viewers, much love to the racing fans, because you're the reason why we do this weekend in and weekend out. So we appreciate y'all. Welcome back in. And this is it. We are going to decide this thing over the next 2 hours here and wait for a very highly anticipated 2025 season, in my opinion. So we don't quite have all the drivers out on track officially yet, but they are getting very, very close here. So we do have Caballero out on track. He's 15 seconds in behind Shadow Chef here right now for Syndicate Racing Corvette. We've got Gov just ahead there in the RA BMW. So we are just waiting for 12th and 13th place drivers to come out here. So we do have, it looks like the AHR Corvette has gotten that car sorted out and missed a couple of stints here, but they are going to finish the race here with a fully functioning fixed race car or not here, it looks like today. So kudos to the AHR racing team here coming in, getting that car all banded up and duct taped up and red green styled up, and I get to stay around this racetrack for one more dance this season. Love to see it. Love to see it. Isn't that insane, Chris? I know, right? That is a nutso wind right now. It has settled down, however, though. It has just gone from an insane wind of 12 meters per second or 36 feet per second, basically down to half of that distance now. Now we're at about 18.6 feet per second, or we're going to call that 6 meters per second at this point. And it's directly straight west right now. So it was pointing directly south, and so it is moving around a little bit. So there's definitely some movement happening up in the stratosphere there for sure above the racetrack. But right now, pretty dry. Dry as a whistle here on the track. So we did see that, of course, Jaeger had the weather settings up for the final stint, and it was an RO5 start. It is random weather in between, and it is going to be an RO6 finish. So the potential for a rain finish here today is 60%. I'm going to say 60% of that setting. It's all going to come down to the lobby and the dynamic weather and what it chooses to do here now for the remainder of this race. So let's kind of get dialed in here a little bit. Let's go take a look. Lady Bear Racing for the win. Go, Kurt, go. So it is Jalen with the Overboost Racing team here in that Lexus, holding down the fort. They've been in the lead of this race for roughly 22 plus hours here. 21 plus hours here of the 22 plus hours served. So all said and done, they are going to have pretty much led the majority of this race. We have seen some lead changes to some different leaders in the earlier parts of the race, but the ORT Lexus here has just done what they've done all season long. They got that car out front and then have just controlled the pace of the race. We're not seeing anything differently here in the 24 hours of Spa. There's been a little bit of tense moments and some give and take time moments between the Overboost Racing team and the Esports Race Asylum team, who are actively fighting for that championship here. By the end of this stint, it will finally be decided which one of those two teams are going to take it home here, but it's a tall order for the Esports Race Asylum team at this point. At the 6 hour mark, they said they were at about a minute 40 in behind that team, just getting back on the lead lap, and 6 hours later, we're still at about a minute 40 in behind this team, and well, time is not on their side anymore. When the clock runs out this time, the clock is done. It's over. It's game over. It's season over. And last chance for romance for the two teams chasing that championship right now. Top three. Yes, absolutely. Got Jown here, obviously in the race lead. Got a minute 40 gap over Esports Race Asylum Nick in the 44 Corvette here. And Nick has a 42.4 second lead over Macho Monkey from Sector 7 Racing, the number 13 BMW. So that is our top three here. Once we get off the podium, that takes us down to the rest of our field chasing the podium here, and the 4th place driver, Kaza, is a little over 2 minutes in behind Macho. So, I don't know if there's really any worry right now as far as the podium goes for these drivers. I think it's a matter of whether or not can Nick bring that Corvette closer and try to challenge over the next 2 hours for the race lead overall, or is one of these three going to make the big giant mistake at this point in the race and have the race completely turned upside down at the very last possible worst moment and have everything change at the last second? Entirely possible. We'll have to wait and find out.
Glad Sons can decide to grace our presence.
We got Leo doing Leo things here. I'm not even going to try and repronounce all that because I definitely don't speak Portuguese, but alright, so Sector 7 Racing Renault here, the number 7 car, with C in behind the wheel to bring this home here for one of the 2 Sector 7 racing teams here. And it's been a little bit of an up and down race for this team. They've been as far up as podium and about as low down as 9th to 10th place here in the grid at some points in this race, and just sitting very solidified in the middle of the pack here right now. They got 25 seconds to Welshie in behind in the BMW 33 car from Team MRL here. But that is a somewhat comfortable gap here still, obviously at Spa, so 25 seconds is a large chunk of time to still have to make up. We've seen drivers obviously close that time up throughout this race, throughout these 2-hour driver stints, but the final stint is a different ball game. Most of the teams have their top drivers in the cars, their most experienced driver, their fastest drivers, and making up time is not going to be the easy thing to have to do here now in this final stint, because again, every team has some of the, potentially, probably, most likely, their best driver behind the wheel right now. We have Shadow Chef here in the Syndicate Racing car here. We have Capolero GT in the Loose Moosing Mercedes. We've got Kurt here in the McLaren. Had a little bit of a stall in the brain there. And then we've got James from the AHR Corvette here, still waiting to come out. Obviously, because they were unable to get the car out of the paddock over the last couple of racing stints, so over the last 4 hours, they're going to be receiving a pretty sizable penalty for that. You got to take 50 laps at 4 miles. That's just 200 miles plus a couple more laps. We'll call it 208 miles. I believe what that is, that Formula second a mile. Times 2, plus the distance from the original disconnect in the first lobby, plus the gap to the race leader. So we should see him coming out soon, but definitely a little bit of a wait time there, unfortunately, for the Apex Hunter Racing team. But they got the car ready, they got it fixed, and they're going to get it back out on track to finish this race. So that's commendable. That is most certainly commendable. Hey, show me the money. Jay, you want to send me one? I could really use one right now. Like a hot, really warm, hot one. With like 3 espressos. Alright, so a minute 43 between Nick and Jown right now. I mean, I'm not going to say it because we're not playing the commentator curse game in the final stint here. I'm not even going to think it, but it appears our top 3 is very slated at the moment. Let's put it that way. That doesn't mean that's what's going to happen, but it appears that it's very solidified up in the top end of our field here. The top 3 seem very secure in their positions at the moment. Not saying that that's the case, obviously, but it appears to be the case. So we've got Kaza and Pebe here, 4th and 5th place. These are both Race Asylum teams entered into the series here, but Race Asylum 2 in 5th place has a much larger points grasp in the overall standings here for the season. So I would guess that Payme is going to be looking to get around Kaza here, but Kaza's a quick racer as well, so we'll have to wait and see what happens here between the two Race Asylum team cars here. But the GTR and the Lexus driven by Payme here are only separated by a half a second currently. We call it 2 car lengths right now. And Payme has closed up roughly about a 6.5 or 7 second gap, something like that, from the time that these drivers had left pit lane. So we did just see Jown just make his way around these two guys here just before we came in. We got blue flag being waved to these guys here now from another lead lap car. Not sure which one, but one of them. How's it going, Carlos? How you doing, my friend? Let's go, Payme, says Josh. I'll put some Cuban coffee and oof, chat is spicy this morning. I'm more of a Folgers over Maxwell House guy myself. Alright. So here we go. Payme looking on the outside here, heading into La Source, trying to get around Kaza here. And side-by-side racing action from those two beautiful Race Asylum cars here. And as we come around La Source, we are still side-by-side here. So Payme has the edge on the GTR here, and we're going to see the two Race Asylum team cars there swap positions around here, leading into Arouge and Laurentillon. So Kaza losing out here to Payme. Payme up into 4th place. Kaza now down into 5th place. But boy, this is not over. Kaza very securely into slipstream here, and he's going to move to the outside of Payme now as we head up to Kemmel Straight into Lacombe and battle on. As we head into Lacombe there might have been just the slightest of touches there, but they're still side by side here as we head through Lacombe, and a snap there from that Lexus of Payme. And boy, what a save that was to somehow get that thing back on track and tracking here. So that cost him a second. 1.2 seconds, that snap right there, but boy, what a save from Payme. That could have been absolutely devastating there for Payme there if the car would have just absolutely trailed on him, but he absolutely gobbled that thing up, and that was a nice save. So we're going to look through the field real quick while Payme is trying to close back in on Kaza here. We got Welshie 27 seconds in behind with C, who is minute 28 in behind Payme. That was a great catch. We got RA Gov here, about 15.3 seconds in behind MRL Sean. That puts Shadow Chef here in the Syndicate Racing Corvette in the top 10 position here. I believe that's the final points position here in the lobby. We've got Keplero GT here, 15 seconds in behind Shadow. We've got Kurt in behind Keplero. Not sure what that distance is. About 3 minutes. So a little bit of a gap there, a couple potential couple racing laps there, and then poor James. Poor James is just waiting to get released here. That thing was all weighed out. Let's do one hands up. Alright, so our race leaders here, Jown, minute 43 to the good right now over Esports, Race Asylum, and driver Nick here, minute 44. The gap was minute 40 when they came out of pit lane. So ORT building back up on that lead. We have Macho Monkey here. He is 38.6 seconds in behind Nick here. So I guess the question is, does Nick have the pace to reel in ORT? And if Nick does not have the pace to reel in ORT, does Nick have the pace to hold off Sector 7 Racing BMW? This is kind of where I'm starting to land here with my thought process, as that gap was 48 seconds. It's not that long ago. I want to call it 6 laps ago. If they continue at that pace of taking time out of Nick, there's a potential to see a battle with about 45 minutes remaining in the race here. Alright, so we got race control just shooting a message across there just to make sure that the drivers are fully aware that there is the third place car absolutely hot on their trails. So I think that was just a friendly reminder from race control before they got too involved in their own battle there, just to let that car through before that battle got involved. And I think at this point in the race, where it's the final stint, and this is a podium position driver, I think that was a great call by race control, just to make sure that these two battling drivers were aware of what was going on, because here we go, we're right back at it again. Pebe and Kaz are right back at it here. Side by side racing action as we head through Blanchiment here, and oof, that is some hard racing right there. That is hard to do side by side, but I tell you what, our Race Asylum teams were up to the task here, and it is getting racy up in here. It is getting racy. A nice over-under there from Payme, still trying to capitalize on Kaza here. I mean, this is two very beautiful race cars to start with. Having a beautiful battle here at Spa in the final stint here. And again, nice tight line there from Kaza. That's going to force Payme on that outside track. And Payme is just up to the challenge. Payme ain't scared of the outside line. He's like, yeah, I'll hang it out there. Bring it on, boy. Let's see what you got. And it is going to be Kaza just edging out that Lexus here as we head up Eau Rouge already on lap 12:50 here. And, Payme is going to pull it out up to Kemmel here, and a big head of steam coming from Payme here. This time should be able to get him up ahead of the GTR just with enough time to be able to take a good line into the column there, and the GTR is going to do much of the same thing here. He's just going to take an optimal line in, and they'll re-engage this battle again, I'm sure, as they continue on. But Payme currently up into 4th place, and Kaza now just in behind, trying to regain 4th place back. So we're going to sit here for a minute. Got a juicy battle here. We love to see that. And it's a juicy battle between team cars. That makes it even more interesting. But it is Payme here up into 4th place, and Kaza down into 5th. Kaza took a look there, just made a little motion there, just maybe trying to see if he was going to get a reaction out of Payme perhaps. But no such luck. Payme didn't even flinch behind the wheel of that Lexus, and will continue on up ahead of Kaza here. But it seems like these two guys are fairly equally paced, so this could be fun. This could be fun. Come on, Gov. What a battle. I know, right, Oath? A huge battle. We'll go check on Gov here in just a second. We're just going to stick with this battle here for another minute or 2 or 3 if that's what it takes. But Payme, I wouldn't say relieving the pressure, but just giving himself a very tiny amount of breathing room here right now. Kaza, I don't think is going to be close enough to try a move into the bus stop here, so he should be okay, just be able to set up for the racing line, which is what we've seen there. A nice, good, tight entry into the chicane there from Kaza, and he's going to get a good line out there as well. 3/4 of a second is that gap now between Payme and Kaza here, so we are going to just slip away from this for a second. We'll come back and check on that in a minute. We've got Wid C here at 1 minute 23 seconds in behind Kaza now for the Sector 7 Racing Renault, and 29 seconds in the good currently over Welshie here in 7th place, the MRL BMW. So I think that gap has slightly shrunk, if I'm not mistaken. We've got Sean, the other MRL car here, the GTR that is, in 8th place. He's got 14.4 seconds to Gov in behind. So there we go, there is Mr. Gov. And we'll go take a look here in just a moment's time. And a minute 42 in behind the team car BMW up ahead there as well. So moving over down to 9th place here, the Race Asylum BMW, the 999 car. Adriano having a cracking stint in stint 11 to set this final stint up for Gov here. Got that car up into 9th place now, and Gov has about a minute to work with over Shadow Chef in the Syndicate Racing Corvette there as well, so looking good. But 14.4 seconds is more than notable gap here to MRL Sean in the GTR up ahead, so I think that's probably where the focus for Gov is right now, is trying to close that gap up and see if they can grab that one last position before the end of this race here, potentially. Shadow Chef here in the Syndicate Racing Corvette, and this car has been fast all race long, all weekend long. It's just racing is racing, and unfortunately they had a couple of moments early in the race that set them back, and they've been playing catch up ever since. They had a disconnect early in the race, which really set them back, and that's they've been just trying to close up ever since, and have not really been able to find any more ground above and beyond ninth place here in this attempted recovery drive here this weekend. So you could be one of the on paper strongest teams on track. Doesn't mean that you're guaranteed to win the race, right? So on paper the Syndicate Racing team is very strong. They have some of the strongest drivers in the field over there in that 64 Corvette clubhouse, but all it takes is, a simple thing like a disconnect or an incident on track that was unavoidable, and they can completely throw a day upside down, which is kind of essentially been the day for Syndicate Racing here today, unfortunately. We have Kurt here in the McLaren, the number 45 McLaren here. And I cannot for the life of me remember which team this is. I feel so bad for it, too. I just cannot remember. James will be out probably sometime in the next half dozen laps or anything. I can't believe we're nearly there. I know it went by pretty quick, didn't it, Ray? Alright, so Jan with a half-second penalty here. Obviously, probably isn't stressing about that too much with minute 46 gap over the next driver here. That half-second penalty most likely isn't going to relate to anything except for a little bit of time loss on the driver's lap here at this point. Nick is pushing. He's probably given everything that car has and what he has behind the wheel of that car right now to try and close down Jown in first place there, but it's looking like the clock is their enemy at this point. We got Macho Monkey here in third place as well. Number 13 BMW. And the gap is 36 seconds to Nick here now. Now, I kind of felt like that maybe Macho Monkey was really starting to close in on the Esports Race Asylum car here, but over the last half a dozen laps here, he's only really been able to gain maybe 2 full seconds. So the gain on second place has definitely slowed down for Macho here as they continue around the track. Payme is starting to open a gap up on Kaza just a little bit here. It's 1.3 seconds for the time being here on the racetrack. Both these drivers are very quick drivers, and that showed in that great battle that we had just a few minutes ago there on the racetrack for that overall fourth position as well. Gutted for AHR with all these unlucky moments in the season. It happens. I'll second that motion, Ray. I will second that motion. Oh, okay, he's taking a flag at the end just to formally complete the season. Understandable. Like I said, that car has been behind pit wall for roughly 5 hours after that really hard disconnect there from I can't even remember who the driver was now, but the car may not be necessarily fully mechanically sound to race under full racing condition, and maybe they've just got that thing patched up enough to get it out to take the checkered flag. So hey, I'm all for it. It's been a tough season, and team captain, I'm assuming, obviously just wants to bring it home for the team one way or the other. So I can commend that. I can really commend that. Hey, we're a strong team early on, absolutely. Too many DCs this season. Slider rules and kennels. Right. Later it was kennels. Thank you. That was the driver. That was the name I was trying to think of. All right, so we got Sean, MRL Sean here in the Nissan GTR. Not Shane, Sean. Same team, different cars, different drivers. moving and grooving pretty good here. 218 starting to fall a little bit into that 219 range. When we look at the race leaders here, I mean 217, 216s, 217s, and just hit his first 218 that last time around here. Let's see what he's got this time around. This could be another 17-1, 17-1. So Jown absolutely cruising right now in that ORT Lexus. We got Nick here in the ERA Corvette. And a minute 46 is that gap, so not losing any time, but also not gaining any time at this point on the race leader. I think the more big concern here at the moment right now may very well potentially be the Sector 7 Racing number 13 BMW here. Slowly but surely just chiseling away at that time gap between themselves and Esports Race Asylum team, but 32.5 laps remaining in the race here at little over 2 minutes a lap. I mean, maybe. We'll have to see how the pace remains over the next portion of the race here. Duct tape that internet signal. Yeah, I mean, you know, obviously the internet signal is a part of it. But I mean, how can, for example, one of those drivers that may struggle with staying connected to a racing lobby all of a sudden just go jump on Call of Duty and play multiplayer matches and Battle Royale matches, just as an example, on a game like Call of Duty without any problems. But then they hit the racetrack and it's just like the world is ending on their internet connection, you know. It's not the internet. I mean, obviously, internet does play a small factor, and if you're not running a NAT Type 2 connection here on Gran Turismo 7, you're not going to get a very good racing experience, basically, and probably everybody around you that is racing with you is also not going to necessarily get the best racing experience. You need a NAT Type 2 connection in order to really properly race in Gran Turismo 7 in these styles of lobbies and also race safely. So ultimately at the end of the day you need a NAT Type 2 connection, but I mean that's nothing new. As far as the internet world goes, that has always been the strongest connection type in the internet, and you know, NAT Type 1 and NAT Type 3 are just no good. They're just no good. They just don't do the trick. They just don't hold the bandwidth. They don't hold the response time, whatever the case may be. So that is a part of the problem, but I think ultimately at the end of the day it is just a game. It's just the way the game's designed. It's the way it handles. It was supposed to be a PS5 only game upon initial release, but of course the pandemic hit and turned everything upside down and messed everything up, and they were forced to rebuild the game to suit PlayStation 4 systems as well. So a game that was never designed to be on older generation console got forced to be on an old generation console. Now we've got cross-play, in a sense, cross-generation console play. I think the problem more lies in the absolute sheer difference between the generations of consoles and the capabilities and technologies that they have, and the coding built into Gran Turismo 7 that causes more of the issue than necessarily the internet connection solely. But it's only going to get worse. Now we've got PS5 Pros on the market, and then, you know, they're more capable than even the PS5s are apparently, which means they have more features, they stack up a little bit better, and they're going to run Gran Turismo 7 just slightly differently than the PS5 users, and most certainly than the PS4 users. So I think really it's just, unfortunately, I think the netcoding is going to just continue to get complicated the more cross-generation consoles they continue to add to the platform. Unfortunately, ultimately, I know the PlayStation 4 users don't want to hear me say it, but the game should have stayed to a PlayStation 5 only game, and I think that this game would have been a lot more polished if we'd have a lot more available to us in the game if it was a PS5 exclusive. What's the gate to Payme? I don't even know what any of that means. Yeah, that's okay. That's okay, Leo. I barely know what any of it means. I'm just talking. That's just what I do. Between Payme and who, Josh? Your eyes won't blink. The gap to third place, I have no idea, because it won't tell me. 2 minutes and 23 seconds. The gap to Team Car Kaze behind is 3.2. Alright, not a whole lot happening. We had that juicy battle there between Payme and Kaza there for a few laps. I think Lucas says best battle besides the race stint 1, laps 1 through 7. I actually disagree with you on that, Lucas. I actually think that the battle between Ando and Yeast was better, and it lasted for a whole hour as opposed to 2 laps or 3 laps. So I don't think that is the best battle besides laps 1 through 7 on stint 1. I do respectfully disagree with you on that. But it's definitely one of the top battles for sure here today as far as the overall race goes. We've got Welshie here in 7th position as well. 27-second gap to Wid C from Sector 7 Racing here in the Renault, and he is tucked in behind the 8th place driver here right now. Whether or not he's been passed by the 8th place driver or not here now is I'm unsure of, or if he's just caught up to that driver, but I don't see any blue flags waving. I definitely don't see blue flags waving, so that's a little odd. Welshie here in 7th place, and Sean here in 8th place, with that Sector 7 Renault just working his way around right now, actually. So now we got a blue flag waving there on the screen. Gov, 5.6 seconds in behind Sean. Ooh, pardon me, we have a little hiccup moment here. And closing, so maybe a battle brewing here between RA's Gov and MRL Sean potentially here as Gov continues up the track, so we'll kind of be keeping our eyes on that. We got Shadow Chef here in 10th place. That gap's about 1:15, and that is Caplero GT, 2.2 seconds in behind here right now, so a couple of potential battles brewing in the back half of the field here. I don't know if my peon size brain can even handle all that, Chris, to be honest. Like I said, I think I was just winging it, I don't know. Yeah, Gov is flying, absolutely. Boss lady's proud of the boys. Alright, number 45 car here, our 650S McLaren driver, one of 2 that did start the race here. We are down 1 here. As of, I think it was stint 9. We lost our LRC McLaren team here, but it is what it is. It happens, it's racing, and that Corvette just waiting for that final lap so he can come out and breakdancing? Oh god, no. You don't want to see that. You thought the Olympic breakdancing girl from Australia was bad? Yeah, you do not want to see that. This guy has no flow. There is no dancing flow here. This boy's 2 left feet, let me tell you what. Right, let's get back to this. .5 seconds, and let's go check on this. 2.2 seconds. Which one? Which one? Either one could develop ahead of the other one. 4 seconds to 2 seconds, so all depends on the drivers trying to close those gaps at this point. So we definitely have a couple of close potential battles happening here on the racetrack. So while these continue to work themselves into form, let's go get a rundown here again. Let's just take a look. Let's see what's happening and see if anything's changing right now in the grid. It's not at the moment here in the race lead anyways. ORT a minute 50 ahead of Esports Nick Esports Race Asylum, Nick. Nick is 33 seconds ahead of Macho Monkey. It was 36 a little bit ago, so another 3 seconds bled off the Corvette's time between them and third place there, and we're not quite halfway through yet. Again, not hard to tell whether or not he has enough time to potentially reel in more time. If the drivers stay clean and true to their pace and don't make too many or any mistakes, hard to say, really hard to say. Peme has started to build a small cushion between himself and fifth place team car Kaza here. 3.7 seconds in between these two right now. But nope, battle happening here, as this is a growing gap as opposed to a shrinking gap at the moment, just a slow growing one. We've got Wid C 1 minute 24 seconds in behind Kaza, and still 30 seconds to the good over Welshie here as well. So lots of time. No panics here right now for the Sector 7 Renault. The chances of grabbing any more position ahead is probably low percentage. Potentially losing a position on the grid is a little higher percentage at the moment, as there is a car only 30 seconds back, and it only takes one really intense moment on the racetrack to change 30 seconds here at Spa. So definitely a cushion, but it isn't a big enough cushion to be a safe cushion yet, and I don't think, in my opinion. Welshie is coming into pit lane here from 7th place, so he will fall down the order a little bit after the pit stop, 1 or 2 positions, until the drivers that have taken those spots back, of course, make their pit stops. Look at the coordination of the cinder block. Ghost has been busy. Ghost has most certainly been busy. Absolutely, for sure. But it's been. If we weren't if we were racing it, we'd be putting in the same amount of work, but just in a different sense. So it's just business as usual here from this guy, that's for sure. If I wasn't in the booth commentating this race, we would have been on track racing this race essentially. So because we are a reserve team here in the series. Fortunately for IRO, the teams all showed up this racing round, and they didn't need to pull in Ten Tenths Racing reserve team, so that actually opened up my availability to be able to come in and cover a very large portion of the race here for him. So everything kind of worked out in the end there, which is always fantastic. We love to see things work out that way. But Sean's starting to feel the pressure here a little bit. He's got Gov closing in. The gap is 2 seconds now, so the gap was a little bit bigger than that, and it's not a very quick gain right now. It's a couple tenths, maybe a lap at the moment, but it's gain nonetheless. So Gov looking to try and apply some pressure here to the MRL GTR team here, the 09 car, and what is that, the Play-Doh paint job, I was told, on that car. So 2.1 seconds currently is the gap between Gov and Sean as they head into La Source for the 600 and something time here today, and the gap is 1.7 seconds there. So the BMW got a really good run in and out of La Source heading into Rouge La Ratillon here, and that gap is slowly closing here as well as he heads up the hill. Using all that racetrack as well. Yep, sure can. You betcha. Just moving over here real quick. We got blue flag waving here in behind these guys now as well. So let's jump back out to the camera here. We want to go check out Macho Monkey here. I think we had a request to just check out those lap times here. And it's 217, 217, 217, 217. So right across the board, basically. That 218 with that 216 essentially just makes it a 217 as well. So Macho Monkey is definitely moving here very quickly. 30.3 seconds now in behind ERA's Nick there. So, maybe, maybe there is enough time here for Macho to close up that gap to the second place driver here. Interesting. That's as an interesting little bit of a potential development into the final stint here. At first, I didn't really think that he was closing the gap quickly enough to potentially see the back bumper of ERA's Nick, but now I'm starting to wonder if that is actually the case here. Done, everyone. Appreciate it. There's some great words. Yo, Cupcake, my co-host. What is up, my dude? Great job. Great job. A few hours ago, my guy. Appreciate you coming in and hanging out with us. All right, Wed C has a minute 22 to Kaza, has a minute to Welshie. Completely in no man's land right now. Not the worst place to be in, but obviously probably maybe not where they wanted to be in necessarily, but no pressure. So, with an hour-ish remaining in the race, no pressure is a good place to be. Clean air. No need to feel like you got to over-push the car or defend. You just essentially need to run qualifying laps for the remaining hour here for them, and bring it home in 6th place. I mean, very respectable finish. It's been, like I said, an up and down race for that team, the Renault here today, and I think a 6th place finish is a good finish for the type of race that they've had here over the 24 hours this weekend as well. So. Definitely a contention team in that RS01 for sure. They've shown it this season that they can put that car on the top of the field. But just not their day today, just not their day today, that's all. But still a very commendable 6th place sitting currently here right now for the Sector 7 Racing Renault. And, don't think they'll be too disappointed with the way the season has gone here either. I mean, I'm starting to get, familiar with the team, and we're starting to make friends with Sector 7 Racing over there, but we're still learning about them. We know that they're a very good organization, we know they're very organized, and we know that they train very hard. So I can respect that out of a team that is just constantly trying to refine their craft and make each of their drivers just a little bit better each race or each day or whatever the case may be. So a lot of respect for Sector 7 Racing from my neck of the woods anyways, and it was been a tough performance for that Renault here at Spa, and they've taken it, they've handled it, and they've kept that car in the top half of the field. So I mean, kudos to all the teams on track. These are not easy races. Yeah, I've commentated so many races over the last 4 years. I've commentated many endurance races. I've commentated 24-hour races. I've commentated 12-hour races, 1-hour races, 2-hour races, 6-hour, all kinds of them. These endurance races are a whole different beast. They're just a whole different beast. They're on a different level. So the fact that each of the drivers on each of the respective teams have come out and put in their time, put in their work, and put in their laps, I mean, that in itself is a feat. I know myself and Ten Tenths Simracing, came in with really high adrenaline and expectations and hopes going into our first attempt at one of these endurance races. A little bit of airtime there from Sean as he hits the baton there with Gov right in behind. Again, another little game faux pas there. But, we were very quickly humbled in that first attempt at our endurance career here with the IRO. Very, very quickly humbled, I tell you what. But we came back 4 weeks later for the next race at the Petit Le Mans and stepped up and almost grabbed a top 10 finish in that race. So, it's a great experience. I think there's a lot of valuable lessons for racers to be learned in this style of racing. And you don't have to be the best or fastest racer to enjoy endurance racing. Consistency and drivers that don't make a lot of mistakes are just as important as the fast drivers that tend to make mistakes because they're constantly pushing the edge. So, it was a lot of fun for us this season too. We were really glad we were able to get that to feel the experience, myself and the drivers over at Ten Tenths. And I know we're throwing our hat in the ring next season for the 2025 season as well. So we're definitely looking forward to more of it. But it's intense. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of preparation. Mentally, you really do need to prepare yourself mentally for these races. And it takes an army. It really does take an army to get 6 drivers around these 24-hour races. So, kudos to the International Racing Organization and the staff behind the scenes for keeping it organized, keeping a good fair play rule book in place, and ensuring that rule book is upheld to its full standards as well, making sure that drivers understand that rule book to the full weight of its standards. And it's been a really fantastic 2024 season for the half of the season that I have been able to step in and help cover and, of course, partake in ourselves as well. So, it's not easy. It's really not easy, but we definitely love to see the new faces coming in of all skill levels to get their feet wet with it, because it's what I like to call big boy racing, for lack of a better word. And we have our top 4 all pitting at the same time here. So Jown in pit lane, he is going to take a set of racing tires here and X amount of fuel, I'm sure, into that racing car. We've got Nick coming out of pit lane here. Ooh. Wait for the live timing to sort itself out. This is going to take probably half a lap, most likely. The game's live timing has been a little wonky over the last 24 hours for sure. But I really don't believe that it's 2 minutes and 45 seconds, unless something happened that we missed. What a stud, go Gov. You sure can. Mr. Shadow Chef here from the Syndicate Racing Corvette team here. And Shadow Chef is just coming out of pit lane here, so there's not a whole lot to see right now, as he was just right in the middle of a scheduled service for that Corvette. We'll have to give it a lap or two here, just let this pit stop sequence come through, and then we can get a better idea on what the gaps are, at least between the drivers anyways. Apparently it's 2 minutes and 44 seconds between Jown and Nick here. I suspect that's not correct, but maybe it is. 25 seconds between Macho and ERA's Nick here as well, so the gap is still coming down. It was 30, now it's 25. That was about 7 minutes ago. Was that 5 seconds per 3 laps essentially? That's 29. There is a potential battle brewing between 3rd and 2nd place if the pace between the two cars continues at a consistent standard to where it is right now. There is a potential battle for potentially 2nd and 3rd place here between those two drivers. So that's a little bit interesting as I kind of start to break the math down in my head on that. Macho is closing. He is most certainly closing in on ERA's Nick there. It's just, does he have enough, and can he maintain that over the next 45 minutes roughly, I think is what it would take to close in on Nick at the pace they're at. But that would be enough to create a 5 lap dash battle, something like that. Get him, Kaza. Luigi says, get him, Kaza. 3.5 seconds to gap between Payme and Kaza here as well. So they had that battle very early on in the stint here, and it was a very spirited battle between the two drivers as well. Very good, hard-fought battle. And Payme did come out on top of that battle at the end of it there, but we're not at the end of the stint yet. So at the moment, it's Payme on top of that battle, but only 3.7 seconds separating the two team cars. I wouldn't say that's a guaranteed set in stone position for Payme yet. We'd see in 6th place here for the Sector 7 Racing Renault, and again has a good size gap to Kaza up in front there, so just putting in the paces, getting the miles locked in on this car, and trying to get it home, remaining in 6th place. But we do have Welshie here closing in. The gap is 6.4 seconds. Now, Welshie hasn't pit where we've seen Wid just recently pit. And that is why we see Welshie only within 6.5 seconds currently of Wid C. That gap was about a minute before the pit stop from Wid C. So it was about a 54-second pit stop there for the Sector 7 Racing Renault on that pit stop. So once Welshie decides to pit whenever that time comes, will essentially give that 54 seconds back to Wid C. We got Gov coming out here. Gov is out ahead of MRL Sean here, so it is, the gap is what though is a bigger question. So Sean went, oh, we got a Cupcake up in the house here. Hold on, let me turn Cupcake on for everybody. There we go. Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear, buddy.
Fantastic. I wasn't sure if I had the hotkey set or not in the Discord. We do have Cupcake back in the booth here with us as well to bring in about the last hour here with us, so welcome back. Kaz is fighting until the end. Oh, I believe that. I believe that. Are we there yet? We're almost there. We're almost there. We're 23 hours in here now, so the final hour. The final hour. Ooh, bum, bum, bum.
Yeah, I bet everybody over at ORT are on the edge of their seats at the moment. They have been nothing short of dominant all race long. And with just less than an hour left to go, I know nerves are going to be a little shot here as they watch down, go around the track for the final, I'd say, 49 minutes, 48 minutes?
I think we're still within an hour here for sure. A little over 2 minutes, 2.25 minutes a lap essentially is what that works out to, with another, 22 laps remaining. That's 44 plus another quarter, that's another 11. Yeah, that's about 55 minutes of racing left here yet at the pace the drivers are on currently. The lead lap cars, that is, obviously. Once the leaders cross that start-finish line and start the final lap, then the maximum allowable race duration timer we have at that point is only 3 minutes, so it's about enough time for each of the drivers to get one more full racing lap in at that point. So we will see some of the drivers finish on lap 42, 43, 44, 45, something like that, depending on how many laps behind the Lexus ORT team that's leading right now. But yeah, about 55 minutes here, I think, before we see a checkered flag drop, roughly. And Macho Monkey, I mean, we're definitely going to have to be keeping our eyes on this here. I mean, Macho has shown that he has leader pace all race long over the last 24 hours. Every time we've seen this driver in this car, he has been absolutely on point with his pace. Currently lapping in the 16s right now, and was 2:17s right up until getting ready to enter into the pit lane is when the time started to fall off a little bit here for Macho. So when we go up to Nick in second place, I mean, the lap times are a little bit of a different story here. You know, it was 2:18s and 2:19s before the pit stop, where we're seeing 2:17s consistently from Macho. And now Nick is also lapping into 2:16s here, so no gain at the moment for Macho Monkey on Nick as they come out of the pit lane, but the pace is definitely picking up here. As you can see, our race leader also in the very low 2:16s here right now on the racetrack as well. So the drivers are tired, the teams are tired, the equipment is definitely wore out. The cars are probably very excited to not have to turn on or run for the next millennia, most likely. They are going to be tired and wore out, plenty of miles put on them, and everybody is anxious, nervous, excited, and definitely ready for this 24 hours to come to an end so we can see who our champions are. Kaza here in 5th place, 4.6 seconds in behind Pepe. Pepe's not grabbing leaps and bounds of time over the team car here at number 77 car, but is slowly but surely just continues to put little bits of time between himself and the GTR there. So obviously that's what they're looking to do as they are placed up in the top end of the standings themselves as well. And with them being ahead by a couple positions of the Sector 7 Renault, that potentially gives them an opportunity to grab an extra position in the standings without doing the math and looking at them, I suppose. But it does give them the potential to maybe jump ahead of the Sector 7 racing team here. So Welsh in 7th place, Gov here in 8th position. Gov has 3.8 seconds to the good now over MRL Sean in the GTR. That was the battle that Gov was working on developing right before the pit stop sequence, and I don't think he got the job done before pit stops. I think he got it done during the pit stops. So using strategy to get the pass done here, and saving him time on the racetrack to get the pass done in a sense when you do it that way. But strategy is key in these races. Pit stop strategy does play a vital role in these long distance races, and in this case it was a good call. It was a good strategy. It did get that BMW out in front of the MRL GTR here. So Gov is now working on opening that gap up, giving himself a little bit of breathing room here as we head in towards the final half of the race, half of the stint. Sean here in 9th place has a minute 11 to the good over Caballero GT and Loose Moose Racing Mercedes here. Now we've seen this car be very quick, especially in these warmer conditions here at Spa in the latter part of this race. So I do suspect that that car is very, very quick still. It's just when or where does that car start to feel right for this particular driver, and when does he really start to lock in to try and close that gap back up to Gov? Because I'm sure that he's thinking about how he wants his 8th place back from Gov there. Caballero has 5.5 seconds over Shadow Chef right now. Very close between these two. Caballero has come from 11th to close up the Shadow Chef and grab 10th place away from the Syndicate Racing Corvette there, but 5 seconds only separating the two cars. This race is not over yet, that's for sure. It is more than a potential for an additional battle happening here before the end of the race. We've got Kurt in the number 45 McLaren here, a little bit further back from the rest of the pack here, but he's still on track, still putting that car in there, and they are going to bring this thing across a checkered flag here at the end of the day today. So fantastic stuff. It's at the local bakery. What's at the local bakery? Oh, I'm hungry now. You guys are talking food. It's like 5:30 in the morning or 6 in the morning here, man. That's not fair. I want food. I'm very hungry. Food sounds good. Oh, we got Cupcake just jumping into the lobby here as well. Get a nice live view of what's going on.
Yep, I am here.
Alright, so a minute 55 is the gap from Jown to Nick, which is a pretty big gap for less than an hour of racing left. Barring, I think, a really large mistake now from the ORT Lexus at this point. I don't know if Nick has enough in the tank to close the gap and potentially draw a battle for the overall race win here. It has not been for a lack of trying from this Esports Race Asylum Corvette here today. They have every single one of the drivers that have piloted this car here over this 23 and a bit hours at this point have pushed themselves and this car to and beyond potentially their own limits of what they could do with this car to try and close that gap up to the Overboost Racing team. I mean, there was a point in the race a few hours ago where they were down a lap to that team and managed to make their way back through and get back on the lead lap, but beyond that point, they just have not had an answer to closing up the remaining gap on the Overboost Racing team and have been just sitting right around that minute 50 mark for the last 4, 5, 6 hours here, trying to track that position back down. And I just don't think it's there now. With the clock dwindling down and the laps dwindling down and the timer dwindling down, barring a very large mistake, I just don't think it's there for the Esports Race Asylum team here at this point in the race. But I'm just a commentator. What do I know? And I think right now the bigger concern is our third place driver here right now is Macho Monkey. I mean, this guy is lapping incredibly quickly here, 2:15.5. The fast lap on the racetrack right now, and no, he's not on the racing soft tires. He is on those racing mediums. So this man is on a mission right now in the Sector 7 Racing BMW. That gap to Nick was like 50 seconds at the beginning of this stint, 48 seconds. That gap is now 22 seconds, and he has some lap traffic coming up in front of him here, and he is going to want to get around that traffic as quickly as absolutely possible. And it's the race leader. It is the race leader. That's the lap traffic, so it's not even lap traffic he's caught up to. Sector 7 Racing BMW is caught up to the race leader and is about to unlap himself from the race leader. There we go. That is a man on the move right now. Oh my goodness. Ladies and gentlemen, we better keep our eyes on that number 13 BMW here for the rest of this race. He is flying. I don't know what they put in his coffee in the paddock, but it worked. That's still not the overall fastest lap here today, though, in this race. Overall, I still believe that honor belongs to IRO's Jakey with a 2:15.199. Unless I've missed a faster lap since then, I believe that IRO's Jakey is going to hold the overall fastest lap of the race here. I mean, it's just bragging rights. There's no bonus points or anything for that here in the series, but there's bragging rights. Bragging rights are definitely worth it. Definitely worth it, especially in a field of this caliber. All right, so Jown, I mean, he's 27 laps away, 26. 27 including the lap I guess we're running, laps away from a checkered flag, a 2024 endurance racing season in the books, and a potential team championship. So it's all on the line right now for first place. It is essentially Overboost Racing's title to lose at this point. ERA Nick here is a minute 56 in behind, and I mean I don't like to speculate so early on, but I mean the facts are the facts. We've been broadcasting this race for several hours, and the pace is the pace of the drivers. I mean it isn't there for that Corvette right now. The gap is too large, I think. But boy, oh boy, they really should be paying attention to this guy right here, right now. That BMW is tracking incredibly quickly. And are we going to see
and taking a look at the gap here, look like Macho has gained about 5 seconds onto Nick. So definitely, like you said, something to keep an eye on.
Absolutely. I figure with like 5 laps left, potentially we could see a battle brew in there. But first, obviously, Macho has to, get around the cars that are potentially going to slow his pace down right now, and that means the race leader as well. So right now the first job is to get around the race leader, so we continue to try and track down Nick in that Corvette. or is he just sitting behind Team ORT at this point and see if that is what it's going to take to close in that Corvette? I'm not sure what he's thinking here right now, but on his own, clearly has plenty of pace, so doesn't really need the assist, and potentially anybody in front just could be slowing him down a little bit. So we'll have to wait and see how Macho decides to play this here. He has been performing top notch, absolutely, Falsa, absolutely. We've got MRL Sean in the mix here now too, so a blue flag situation now developing in front of these guys here as well. So the rule is you are allowed to take your lap back from the race leader. It's very simple. You're going to pass the race leader. Obviously, you need to do it very cleanly as a blue flag car. But I mean, this is free game. This number 13 BMW is more than welcome to battle down here for the lead lap back if that's what he chooses to do here. So I'll have to wait to see what happens. I'm very keen. I'm very keen. You should be banned for speeding. Being called a tech for post-race inspection.
A Macho Man making a very clean pass to unlap himself from Jown.
Yeah, that, and probably a little bit of cooperation from the race leader a little bit there too. Obviously, neither one of these two drivers wants to have something happen to their cars at this point, so it's not going to hurt the ORT team to let the number 13 BMW through at this point. They still have a whole 2 minutes and 17 seconds to make up in about 40 minutes of racing left. Chances are that's not going to happen. Chances. And Macho is probably very thankful for the fact that there wasn't a big defensive battle there necessarily between himself and the race leader there to get around, because that allows him just to continue to keep pacing his pace here right now to try and close the gap down to Nick. It is now officially under 20 seconds. It just dipped under there a second ago. So it is on. It's on. Payme here, half-second penalty, 12-second gap to Kaza in behind in 5th place here. So has done a pretty good job at opening that gap up to a little more of a comfortable position, as opposed to the 4 or 5 seconds we were seeing Payme maintaining there for a little bit. We have Wid C still kind of stuck in no man's land right now, minute 16 behind Kaza, and now with Welshie making a pit stop there on the soft racing tire apparently as well. Will give all that time back that we've seen Welshie gain on the Renault here as well. So we should see about a minute gap between Wid C and Welshie once this pit stop all sorts itself out. We've got Gov in 8th place, and still only 6.9 seconds ahead of MRL Sean here. So he hasn't really been able to absolutely just blow open a big gap after getting the position through the pit stop sequence there. He's just slowly but surely just kind of opening that gap up, corner by corner, sector by sector, lap by lap, and 7 seconds is that gap right now to the 9th place driver. Got some blue flag traffic situations happening here, so Sean just actually being passed by 3rd place driver Macho, and now has a Jown just tucked in behind here, so I would assume we're going to see him just get out of the way here in the next available safe opportunity on the racetrack to let that driver through as well, and that's exactly what we're going to see there, heading into Brussels, just getting off the racing line there. And our 3rd and 1st place drivers get through unscathed and without incident. He's fighting like it's the last banana. Hey, you gotta, man, you gotta. Are you calling Nick a banana? Maybe. Alright, minute 55 is the gap between 1st and 2nd place. Again, I don't think there's really anything to be keeping an eye on there. I just don't think that is really developing to anything more than what it is at this point. Right here is kind of where we're keeping our eyes right now. It is the 3rd place driver. 48 seconds, I think it was, at the start of the driver swap, when the final drivers took over the cars of the respective team cars here. Down to 19.2 seconds. I mean, Macho is the fastest driver on the racetrack here in the final 2 hours. and looking to grab a second place finish here before the end of the last 2 hours here as well. If the peel fits. Oh my. Oh my. The chat is getting crazy here this morning, that's for sure. Love it.
They are. These monkey puns and everything. I mean, they're all going bananas.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Just don't leave them on the racetrack. We don't want any cars slipping on them now. Alright, so I'm just going to take a quick whip through here. Not a lot happening. As I suspected, we'd see that 1 minute gap maintained between Wid C and Welshie after the pit stop. That's exactly where we're at. 1 minute 1 second there. Minute 38 from Welshie to Gov. 10 seconds from Gov to Sean, so there's most certainly potential for a battle still between those two drivers. Shadow Chef and Keplero are separated by about 12.5 seconds. There's definitely potential there still for a battle as well. But for the most part, I think, with the exception of the second and third place, potentially swapping positions here before the end of this race, I think we're kind of looking at our finishing order already in the grid. But, I mean, racing is racing. Anything can happen. I'll keep it primal. We keep it primal. I mean, what do we have? What, 216s, 216s, 215s. We head over to Nick. I mean, Nick is not driving slow by any stretch of the imagination here either. Let's keep that in mind. I mean, Nick's last 9 laps are straight 216s across the board. Macho is just faster. She's just plain and simply faster right now. Easily by a half second. That's probably lowballing it. I think he's peeling about 3/4 of a second a lap out of Nick currently right now, but it could be a little bit off on that. But I tell you that gap continues to drop right now. That much we can definitely determine, as it's down to 18.4 seconds here as Nick is heading up into Rouge and Laurentian. Gap is getting smaller. The gap is getting smaller. So we have, what, 13 laps left? I don't think we're expecting to see any more pit stops from our drivers at this point. All of our cars should have what they need to bring the race home. Definitely. That's definitely what we're seeing there. Race on. Weather is a wild card here still. The big question mark, I guess, is what is the weather going to do at the end of the race? We do have it as a designated setting at R06. Not the hardest rain setting available in the game, but up there, it could definitely bring some moisture to the racetrack before end of the race. Right now, it just looks really, really, really optimal on the racetrack. I mean, can't ask for better racing conditions right now for our racers, I think. Just kind of gonna stick with Macho here for a couple of rips here again, and just see if he continues to close up the gap. We've got it down to under 18 seconds here now. Unless Nick slips on the banana peel, a monkey won't set it. Won't eat it. Haha, I got you. My eyes are tired too. I can't even read now.
So I noticed the skies here at Spa are starting to get a little bit cloudy, so I'm wondering if we got some rain coming in, or if it's just Spa doing Spa things, teasing us with the threat of rain.
Possibly a little bit of both. I mean, it is Spa after all. It is designated that there is a rain setting near for the end of the race. Whether or not it rains, I guess, is still to be determined. Just because the rain setting is turned on still does not guarantee that is going to happen. It's all random between the first and the last weather slot here for each stint. So aside from rain starting and ending each stint, technically on the data sheets, it doesn't still guarantee that it's going to happen with the dynamic weather system in Gran Turismo 7. The dynamic weather system depends and decides when it's going to rain and not rain. So ultimately it comes down to that, the weather model and the dynamic weather system here, irrelevant of what our settings are really. I mean, the only way to really consistently give yourself straight rain is just to set it on RO8 and leave it on RO8. But just as I say that, well, look at that.
Yep. Look at that. I am on board with Macho, and them wipers are moving.
Yeah, the wind gusts started blowing a little bit of water across Pouon here as Nick is coming through. The wipers are kicking full force here. We can see the rain coming down. You can see a little bit of wind gust blowing the water across the track there as well. So things just got a little bit more interesting here all of a sudden. So now the drivers are definitely paying attention to that radar. They are looking now, if they weren't beforehand, and tough decisions need to be made now. Is it going to rain? Is that all we're going to see? And do we need to stop? Do we need to take on wet tires? Do we just keep going? Well, I mean, the paddocks are panicking right now. Let's put it that way. With literally like 11 laps remaining in the race, and potentially going to be finishing this thing off in wet. Probably not exactly what the teams were anticipating on here for the end of this race, but I'm sure they have a plan for it. But probably we're hoping for a nice dry finish here. So all we're doing is like you guys and gals at home watching, waiting to see what SPA decides to do. .17.5 seconds is the gap here between Nick and Macho.
Yep, and the gap between John and Nick has increased. There's about a 2-minute gap separating first and second.
Yeah, I don't think it's a question of whether or not it's a battle for first anymore. I think the bigger question is, are we going to see a battle for second here now before the end of this race? Commentator's curse. It doesn't work that way, ATB. The other commentators have literally been telling the game to make it rain, and it's not even working. So, I don't know. Rain dance? Rain dance, anyone? I mean, that's about all we got left, right?
King saying, let's stop with the monkey business, please.
Oh yeah. I wish you good luck with that. You opened a can of worms, man. Once you open the can of worms, you just can't put the lid back on it. You know, it just doesn't work that way. ATB. I told you, it's a gift. We don't even try. We can sometimes just think it and it happens. We don't even have to say it. I was anticipating potential rain at the end of this stint. I had a little peek at the weather data sheets before getting into this stint, so I had an idea that there was potential for it to happen at the end of this stint, but again, it's still not. The game is going to decide whether or not it's going to rain. It's not going to be whether I say it's going to rain or race officials are going to say it needs to rain. It's going to do it all on its own. So, we're along for the ride. We're just along for the ride. .2 seconds as Macho comes across the line, officially now on the lead lap, by the way. Right on the tail end of the lead lap currently, but definitely on the lead lap nonetheless. I think that's Gov in behind there too as well. Payme here in 4th place has a 15.1 second gap over Kaza in 4th place, over Kaza in 5th place. Kaza has a 1 minute 18 second gap over Sector 7's Renault. And Wid C has a 1:03 gap over MRL Welshie here in the MRL BMW 33 car. That gap is 1:42 to RA's Gov in the RA BMW here. Just got passed by the race leader here. We've got MRL Sean in 9th place. He's 13 seconds behind Gov and 59 seconds ahead of Kepler GT here in 10th position in the Loose Moose Racing AMG. They have a 16-second gap over 11th place driver Shadow Chef here right now. And then there's about a lap difference, I think, from Shadow Chef to our 12th place driver Kurt at this point. So Kurt is a lap down from the 11th place driver, but still going to bring that car home in 12th place.
Finalized commenting, this looks to be an F1 comment, but I believe McLaren got the constructor's title in Formula 1.
Interesting. I guess it's that time of, I guess that's going on right now, isn't it? I don't watch Formula 1 myself, so I'm one of the very few in the sim racing community I think that isn't really that big of a Formula 1 fan, to be honest. So, yeah, it's all news to me when it comes to F1. 16.9 seconds is the gap here to Macho.
Yeah, so Macho definitely gaining to Nick.
Just ended.
But with only 9 laps remaining in the race, I mean, do you think he's going to be able to catch him in time?
You know, that would have to be almost 2 seconds a lap at this point, and he's definitely not pacing that much quicker than Nick. I mean, when we go compare the times, we got Nick pacing, the last couple laps were not great. A couple of 220s and a 218 there, but for the most part 217 pace coming from Nick, and then we go to Macho, and I mean it's 215s, 216s, 220 on the board there too as well. So a little bit of rain obviously slowed these drivers down just a smidge on the racetrack, but yeah, you know, with 9 laps remaining, I mean that's 2 seconds a lap essentially that driver now has to take out of Nick. I just, it's not impossible. It's just not probable either, I think, at the same time. He was definitely looking like he was on a tear there to knock that gap down, but I think it's a tall order here. But what an absolutely great drive nonetheless. If he doesn't close in the gap to battle for second place, I mean, he did battle his way right back onto the lead lap before the end of this race, and that is saying something in itself as well. So technically there's only 3 cars on the lead lap after basically 24 hours of racing almost now. Everybody else is at least a lap down, and there we go, the weather coming back in again. So we see a little bit of rain dropping here again on the racetrack, and that's going to make things quite interesting because the drivers are on wearing tires, they're on lower fuel, and wearing tires and fresh moisture on the racetrack can be a risky combination at times. So, I guess what is it going to do here? The track is toying with our racers right now, and I mean, we got 26.5 foot per second wind all of a sudden here again.
We had a yellow flag. Try to figure out who that was. Oh, it was Nick. Looked like he went a little too deep there going into the second to last turn. Macho Man doing the same thing. Down has lapped him again.
Yep, the Nick is struggling here heading into La Source now as well, so there's definitely water on the racetrack here. Car sideways,
Down.
getting it back together.
Oh boy.
Oh yeah, it is getting interesting. So now the gap to Nick and Macho is 6.4 seconds. With those mistakes made here by the drivers, and I'm sure that they are not the only drivers making mistakes on this racetrack right now with the semi-wet conditions here, with a little bit of water that's just been spit all over the racetrack essentially. But what that has done is taken our prediction that 9 laps and 2 seconds a lap is not going to be feasible for Macho and turn that into a 3.7 second gap. So that's what Spa has just done. Macho tucked right back in behind ORT race leader here again, and there's some urgency without a question of a doubt here right now from the 13 BMW, because he does not want to be behind that race leader. He wants to be chasing down Nick. 3.3 seconds up the road, man. That gap was just most recently 16 seconds. 8 laps to go. You want to get a driver fired up? You want to get the adrenaline running? This will do it. This will most certainly do it.
This will. And got a couple comments here. A couple that I find are interesting. Chris saying the wind is ripping. Blue Racer saying 25.6. Yeah, you guys should have been here earlier in the morning.
When it was 36?
There were winds 36 and a half.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah. Everybody here is struggling.
So I guess the question is, do we see anybody stop and take the tire?
We do have somebody spun out. Looked like it was Shadow Chef. Sheesh.
Ooh, the
He's
cars
back
are
on the racetrack.
having such a hard time getting the power down right now. We're on board with Macho here, and he's just trying to get some power down on this race car here. He's not in stricken or anything. He's just in the middle of the racetrack, but just trying to get the power down to the rear tires, and he's just absolutely got this car wiggling back and forth here. So Wid C is going to be the first of our drivers to make the stop here, and we got a yellow flag up ahead of Macho
Looks
here.
to be Nick. Look to be Nick, and Nick is not pitting. Neither is Jown. Syndicate spinning out right at the start-finish line. That is Shadow Chef. Macho Monkey is not pitting as well. So very interesting to see. I mean, everybody's struggling on this track right now with worn medium tires. I am quite surprised that nobody pit to go to at least intermediates.
Payme exiting stage right into the chicane there. Just the car locked up on him and just straight skid sideways there. There we go. He's got her back on the racetrack here. And is he going to bring it into pit lane? I'm thinking he's probably bringing it into pit lane here. Absolutely. He had some pretty significant damage to that racing car there. Kaza also coming into pit lane here. What Wid did pit last time around here, so Wid is already back up to essentially race pace speed here with wet tires on, and it is still Nick in second place here, but we just seen Wid get around Nick there as well. So this is interesting. The intermediate tire, we have about 7 laps remaining for some of our racers here, and the Renault was the first to jump on that wet tire. Which means Renault, as you can see, is the nice over-under underneath the race leader right there through Brussels in the wet, is at a major advantage here right now on that Renault with those intermediate tires. Payme and Kazi in pit lane also coming in for some wet tires. But the race leaders, very brave, very bold decisions being made here. They've opted just to try and hang it out here in these conditions on the racing slicks. If you had a fresh set of the racing slicks on, I could definitely see that being a little bit more of a logical decision, I guess, but with fairly degraded tires, not fully worn tires, but definitely heavily worn tires on our top three here. It's a tough call to have to make whether or not to come in and pit, take the wet tire, or just stick it out. And right now we're seeing these drivers stick it out, but the battle for second is on here. Nope, never mind. That's the RA BMW. My apologies. I just seen a Beamer front end there and thought that Macho was tucked right in there for a second, but it is actually Gov that is in behind Nick here. So these guys are fighting for their lives here right now. Monkey see, monkey do. Absolutely nuke. That's exactly what that was. That's exactly what that was. Well, okay. The race leader didn't pit, so I'm not pitting. You know, driving in the rain in itself is a little bit tricky here in Gran Turismo 7, but driving in the rain on racing slicks is a whole different ballgame of tricky here in GT7. You really got to baby the brakes under these wet conditions with the racing slicks on. You cannot expect to come into a corner and just hit your brakes like you normally would under dry conditions, and the car is just going to grab some traction and start to slow down. What the car is going to do is the brakes are going to engage, the tires are going to try to stop the car, you're moving too fast on slippery conditions, and you're just going to lock the tires up, and we're going to see much of what we've seen from Payme in the final chicane there. The car is just going to go, yeah, nope, we're going to go this way. So you have to be extremely careful on your inputs when you're driving on the racing slicks in the water. I'm not even going to begin to start to break down the process and explain how you should do it, because we may run out of time before that happens. But it's definitely a skill. It's definitely a skill. It's something that you definitely got to do a lot of practice with. And every track is different. Some tracks require less moisture on them in order to run racing mediums, where some tracks you can go up to 50-60% water on them and still run a set of racing slicks. So it is also track dependent, I think, as well. But the top three are definitely testing the limits here at the very end of this 24-hour race right now, opting to tough it out. But as you can see, it's not raining anymore on the racetrack either, so that might have just been a strategy call from the top three's parts here, not wanting to obviously take the pit delta hit, but just, I guess, figuring they've got a comfortable enough gap from each other that it's worth the risk. Nick flirting with death over the top. Oh, for sure. Oh, for sure. It has that Corvette doesn't look very cooperative in the wet conditions. Pretty sweet drift, to be fair. Okay, that's fair. That's definitely fair. Yeah, 29 to 32 second pit loss, absolutely. And I mean, they could have afforded to take the pit loss. I mean, the gaps to 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th place and beyond is much farther beyond what that pit delta is. But the bigger thing going on in the paddocks here is not wanting to give that racing position up to the other drivers on the podium. So I think that's where the decision definitely comes from, is the fact that, well, you know what, the race leader didn't, so I'm not, because if I do, I'm giving up that time to the guy behind if he chooses not to, and I'm giving up a position, right? So it's risk versus reward for the top three here, opting to stay out on their racing slicks as the water somewhat came in. Are they being rewarded for it? To be determined, yeah.
Now, what's interesting to see here is I've been taking a look at the gap between Nick and Macho. I know last lap the gap was about 13 seconds separating the two drivers. Macho seems to be handling this very well, because he has gained 5 seconds in a single lap to Nick.
Yeah, and we got about 5 to go. So here we go. Race on. Yeah, the chat is really spicy this morning. They are on it this morning, for sure. Love it. Alright, so Jown here in the race lead. The gap is 2 minutes and 28 seconds to ERA's Nick here right now. So I don't think that's even a lap down, to be honest with you. So, yeah, the rain really kind of threw a curveball into the program, so to speak, for the racers here.
Definitely threw a monkey in the wrench.
See, I try to get away from the monkey references. Just saying. Just saying.
I'm sorry, but if the puns are there, I'm taking it.
Can we get an yeah on P4 onwards quickly, please? Yes, yes, indeed. Alright, so Paymay here in 4th position. He is all over the backside of the Syndicate Racing Corvette at the moment here. Shadow Chef, who has gone a little bit wide there, and we've got Kaza coming around at speed there too as well. Let's make sure. Oh, Kaza got around. Yeah, Kaza got around there. So Paymay, as he was past the Shadow Chef there, I don't know if it was just a mistake made by Shadow Chef there, but definitely getting a little bit wide into the corner, and Kaza had to react to that as well. Wid C sitting in 6th place here. There were no RS01. Is a minute behind Kaza currently, and a minute ahead of the next driver, Welshie from Team MRL. Team MRL is just navigating around the Syndicate Racing Corvette there right now. The Corvette's moving a little bit slow here on the track at the moment, just trying to get back up to speed, I believe. We've got RA's Gov here in 8th place. Blue flag's waving in his face right now. A minute 31 in behind Welshie, and he's got 31 seconds to get over Sean. So has done a good job of building that gap over the MRL GTR team. Sean in 9th place, got 40 seconds over Keplero GT, and with just a handful of laps remaining, probably not going to see too many changes unless something even crazier happens than what's already happened here at the end of this race. Keplero GT in that Loose Moose Racing Mercedes just gets a little bit off the line there because he is on that racing tire. He's just trying to keep some cooler temperatures in the tires so they're not wearing down on the dry line. And I mean, the track is drying very quickly here again already. So Shadow Chef here in 11th place, and Kurt chasing here in 12th position. So not a whole lot happening in the back end there. Go, 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 Kaz.
And the gap between 2nd and 3rd has now officially dropped to below 6 seconds.
All right, so we do have, looks like ORT has essentially put a lap, put Nick and Macho a lap down here. So the battle for first is back out of play here, essentially. It sure looks like that it's not out of play because you can literally see 2nd place literally right in behind 1st place, but there is a whole lap separating those two drivers on the racetrack still, so this is not a battle for position between the Corvette and the BMW, or the Lexus, pardon me, that we see up front here. I almost went right back to that BMW thing again, huh? And even if you were to catch up to Lexus and get around him here, that is only just to get back onto the lead lap at this point for Nick. So
Wait, sorry to interrupt you, but let's take a look at P4. We now have a 1.2 second gap separating Paymay and Kaza.
Both drivers stopped, so both drivers, I would assume, took the same tires. Interesting. All right, battle between team cars here.
Yeah, this is going to get interesting because I'm starting to see pretty much differences in pit strategy playing out between the two drivers. I'm not going to name any names here, but one definitely has made the right decision. Let's just say that. And there goes Kaza going to the inside of Paymay, coming into this turn here. Is he going to get the job done? He's going to try and force Paymay a little bit wide on the outside, but gets it done and takes 4th position.
Yes, says Oz. Yes! That's like a really emphasis yes as well, just for the record. Great move, absolutely, I agree. Alright, so I doubt we're going to see the response from Paymay here. Just touching on what Cupcake said, there is a tire difference between the two drivers. One driver is on a different compound tire than the other driver, so I'm sure you guys could probably figure out who that is over who, but Paymay now down into 5th place here, and Kaza in 4th position. But I mean, there's still a couple laps remaining on this track yet, and if a little more water comes in, that could 100% change things up here. Yeah, 10,000 IQ strat. All right, so it is Jown, and he's on lap 49 of lap 50 here at this point, so we are going to be seeing a checkered flag within the next 5 minutes here. We've got Macho 6.8 seconds in behind Nick here, and is just sheerly running out of time at this point. Next time around, the race leader is going to be on the final racing lap. So it's going to be one to go for the field next time around, basically.
I'm not seeing anything here on the grid. I know Macho Monkey, he's about 6.3 seconds back from Nick. As long as Nick doesn't really make any mistakes here, I do believe it is going to be too little too late for Macho Monkey to take that second position.
Yeah, I mean, he's running out of time here. Like I said, when Jown comes back across the start-finish line here, next time around, that is going to signify the final lap here for the field, as the race leader is on the final lap. So the timer's going to run out, and that's going to be the end of the race. So if Macho is going to make it happen, it literally needs to be within the next 2 minutes, essentially. Basically is what that's coming down to here at this point. But we'll just have to. We just gotta wait and see now at this point. I mean, I don't even know what to say. I mean, it's the hype, the build-up, you know, the absolute incredible pushback and recovery drives we've seen all day today over the last 24-hour period. Just an overall great round of racing here from this crew again. They just never cease to disappoint the viewers. That's for sure. All right, race leader has come across to start the final lap. White flag racing here at Spa, ladies and gentlemen. And as each of these drivers come across that start-finish line, they will be signified that it is the final lap. So Macho Monkey, has one lap to close 5 seconds up here. Can he do it? Kaza here in 4th place. Payme had to pit there. So 39-second gap, but he still has 54 seconds to the good over Wid C in the Sector 7 Racing Renault there. And yeah, I don't think we have anything really immediately brewing here, so... the ORT racing fans are starting to get excited. Oh, are they starting to get excited?
Oh, yeah. Well, if I'm not mistaken, Ghost, they've led all but 1 hour of the race, have
Pretty
they
much,
not?
pretty much, yeah. I mean, they potentially even a little more than that. But definitely at least 23 hours of this race. The ORT Lexus has asserted their pace on the racetrack for sure.
Yeah, so what a dominating drive by the folks at ORT. The pace that they've held for the last 24 hours has been nothing short of amazing. So I know definitely they are just getting super excited coming into the last sector of Spa.
Well, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. All that hard work, all that pushing, all that strategy play has got Sector 7 Racing 13 BMW into second place.
Oh no.
Nick down into 3rd place, front end damage on that race car, so that tells me that a mistake was made. And Macho, mission complete. P2 here for the Sector 7 Racing driver. Absolutely great job, but we are going to bring it home here with Overboost Racing Team, and it is going to be a Spa 24-hour race win there for them. AHR James just coming across the line there as well. congratulations to the Overboost Racing team. Macho is going to take a second place finish. Wincy coming in 6th place right behind his teammate there. Team photo right there, boys. Nick coming around here in 3rd place, and Nick is probably going to be a little bit unhappy about the way that ended for him there, but you know what? They're still on the podium, and it was one heck of a championship fight this season in the 2024 season between the Esports Race Asylum team and that Overboost Racing team. Incredible championship run here today. Absolutely incredible. It is going to be Kaza to take home in 4th place here for the Race Asylum Team 1 car, I believe. Yes, that's a Team 1 car. Race Asylum Team 2 car here from driven by Paymay is going to bring this thing around here for a 5th place finish today as well. We'll keep going through the field here. We have a couple of drivers that have already finished or taken a checkered flag, but we'll just keep doing it in order here. GG's ORT, good job, drivers. Absolute legends, let's go. Absolutely. Incredible racing here today. So it is going to be SV's Paymay coming home in 5th place here for the Race Asylum team number 2. It was Wid C for Sector 7 Racing team number 1. MRL Welshie at the 33 BMW is going to take 7th place. RA Race Asylum team number 3 here, RA Gov in 8th place is going to be MRL Sean in the GTR here in 9th place, and it is without having, I'm going to go look at the results. There we go. MRL Sean in 9th. We got Caplero GT finishing out in 10th place, or top 10 finish there for Loose Moose Racing. Mercedes AMG, Shadow Chef is going to bring it home here in 11th place. Kurt is going to bring it home in 12th place, and AHR James is going to bring the team car home right at the end of the race there from behind the wall to finish their season here as well in the International Racing Organization. So absolutely great job to all our drivers there, and unofficial results up on the screen in front of us here. So obviously what's going to happen here now is there's going to be some downtime for race control and race officials to process the 24 hours of SPA. There's going to be an opportunity for drivers to file incident reports and go through that whole big old jazz. So even though the race is done in front of us here right now, the work is not done here for the crew in behind the scenes. So there's lots to happen here, and over the next week, of course, our great stewarding staff and race officials here at International Racing Organization are going to handle all of that as quickly as possible to get the official results in. But the one thing we can, I think, say for sure is that Overboost Racing Team does appear to be our 2024 GTEC IRO champions unofficially. So congratulations to them for the win here today, and what appears to be the team championship as well. Great run by Macho Monkey there right at the end, picking up the pieces from the heartbreak of that Esports Race Asylum Team Corvette. Just fell apart right at the end of the race a little bit there with the change in the weather. A couple of mistakes, and that allowed Macho Monkey from Sector 7 Racing to overtake that second podium position here. So great racing today from all of our drivers on the track. And I mean, GG's, absolute GG's. That was some crazy racing today. We had battles for a very large part of this race, and then it settled down, and then it got really spicy at the end of the race again. That's exactly what you hope to see in these style of races, and that's exactly what we got here. From the racers and from the crews. So congratulations to all 14 teams that jumped in and competed here. So we got Cupcake, we got Ray.
Hey,
We've got, I believe that's Nick.
what a race.
Evo?
Here we got Ray, Nick, and Jown in the chat.
Absolutely, and we're just gonna sit tight here for a second and see if one of our Sector 7 racers are going to jump in. And we'll have a little chit chat here.
Yeah.
I think I've got a screen for this even.
So while you're setting that up, Ghost, I'm just gonna go through a couple comments here. Just reading through the live chat, looks to be absolutely no love lost between all the teams, especially RA and ORT. So, always a good thing to see great sportsmanship from everybody's part, so definitely nice to see.
Absolutely. And we just got that flipped over here. That happens to work out. We had that screen available to us. Look at me go. It's like I planned that or something, chat.
Anyone
right.
from S7R likely to join us?
They are in the chat, so we'll see if anybody decides to jump in here. I'm sure one of the team reps may jump in, or maybe they're all just tired and said, "No, that's it. I'm done. I'm going to bed."
I've had enough of this shit.
Absolutely.
It's been a long season.
All right. Well, I mean, we can most certainly start with our third place finisher here today in the race. Of course, we had Nick piloting the Esports Race Asylum Corvette number 44 car here at the end of the race, and it looked like you had it really well in control there. You guys were doing a really working really hard to try and get back on that lead lap in the middle part of the race. You succeeded in doing that, and then really the big goal was, of course, try and close down the powerhouse Lexus that was up in front here today. And it was a little bit of give and take between you guys from stint to stint. But ultimately, at the end of the day, the little tiny bit of rain showers we got there in the final dying laps of the race here today, causing a little bit of complication for all the drivers, and unfortunately for yourself as well, costing you P2 overall here today in the race, but still finding your way on the podium. It was a tough day for you out there, especially as a driver, but the team handled that really well. You guys faced great adversity and still find yourself on the podium at the end of the day. So talk us through the 24 hours and how you guys are feeling, and how it was out there all day long.
Yeah, so I guess, I mean, going into this, we knew that we were up against it. ORT have been flying for the last few rounds, The Corvette has not been the most kind to us, and it's been an uphill battle. And we knew going into this that we needed some sort of luck to go on our side to have a chance to even get close to them. And the fact that we were on the lead lap for quite some time in the middle of the race, that was just down to getting the judgment calls right and the weather, and just holding on for dear life, really. My teammates did fucking awesome. I mean, I can't be more proud of them. Yeah, it's been one hell of a season, and yeah, I mean, going into the final race, we knew that it was going to be a tough one, and ORT were favourites, really. We knew this, that they've been outstanding all season, They've had a couple of incidents go against them, which has cost them two wins as well. And so, to be honest, they've been the most impressive team of the season, and hats off to them for winning the title. They well deserve it. Can you guys hear me?
Sorry, I don't have my mic on. My bad.
I was like, what's going on?
Hey, long day,
Yeah.
long day. A great finish from you guys here. I was just saying that, it seems like that the Overboost Racing team, once they kind of got out front, that's where they really seem to dominate and strive. They seem like they like that to control the pace of the race, and that is where they felt the most comfortable. And once they got into that position, from what I've seen this season, they were almost untouchable at that point. I mean, do you think that that's a fair assessment based off of how obviously you guys had to try and chase them down all season? So do you think that's a little bit of a fair assessment there?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, strength-wise, I think they were slightly stronger this season. I mean, it very much went ebbed and flowed on car choice, and the start of the season, especially Daytona, Bathurst, Le Mans, we knew that the Corvette would be strong there. It's got great top end, and at the time it had reasonable handling characteristics. But I must admit that ORT, when they picked the Lexus, we weren't 100% sure if that was the right direction, but hats off to them. They picked the right car in for the long run, and it's paid off nicely for them.
Absolutely. Great performance here. But I mean, you guys too. I mean, you guys were there fighting tooth and nail with those guys all season long. So it definitely cannot take away the season from your neck of the woods either in the esports Race Asylum team. Now, I mean, obviously, Race Asylum had 4 different teams entered into the season here this season, but you guys were definitely the top team out of the 4 teams in the standings. I mean, first season for IRO here had a really good showing. We had full grids basically all season long through the 8 endurance races. We had a couple 24s, a couple 12s, a couple 6s and 8s, a couple of short ones. I mean, how did you feel overall about the season as a whole, and how do you think that it raced as well, based off of how you guys set it up this season?
I mean, whenever you're setting up a new Discord, and a championship like that, it's very much at the mercy of the drivers that want to compete. And I have to say a big thank you to everyone that's taken part this season. We can't do it without them, and I really appreciate everyone's support and just joining in, trying to have some fun. These races aren't for the faint-hearted. 24 hours. Even if you're down to four drivers per team, it takes a hell of a lot of effort, and the practice you have to put in to be competitive just shines through basically. And I must admit, I have to say a big thank you also to the background staff, the admin, and especially the stream team, who have done an absolutely crazy job this season, and I can only thank them highly. You guys have absolutely smashed it. Even when things looked like a little bit dodgy, whether we will get a stream together, I have to say a big thank you to all of you. You really pulled out of the mud, and I'm just so proud of everyone's. I'm a little bit emotional actually. It's fucking hell.
These are hard races, and it's kind of. Don't feel bad, Nick. You guys went through a grueling race here today. I was just going to touch on the next thing. We were talking about how the paddock, how the paddock changes from hour to hour and stint to stint in the race, and how we were, chiming in that the mid part of the race was probably very calm in the ORT paddock, the ERA paddock. Everybody kind of knew what the game plan was at that point in the race. But then when we get down to that last 6 hours, it's time to set up what we're trying to accomplish here. Did the paddock change behind the scenes at all, Nick, in your guys' garage? Did it go from very calm to very chaotic, very pressure filled, or did you guys just kind of stay really calm throughout the whole process and behind the scenes?
I think we just tried to stay methodical throughout the season, and trying to put the best team together when people were available. Practice was sporadic, especially. This game has been through quite a few changes over the year, and people have come and gone, and it's all about just trying to keep your team together and practice when you can, and seeing who's available, and just trying to put your best foot forward. But yeah, we've tried our hardest, especially on the strategy and practicing. Trying to get everyone together and doing it. We're quite lucky as Race Asylum. We're quite a big group of people. We had 4 teams in at one point, and with that, you got a wealth of practice knowledge to come in, and you can sort of share that out, which is kind of lucky. It's just one of them things. By the end of the day, it's the same for every team. If you don't put the practice in, you're not gonna perform these races. The caliber of racing we've seen this season has been very high, and I'm really excited for 2025 because I can only see it going one way, and that is up.
Oh, absolutely. I think that 2025 season is going to be very competitive. I think that there is going to be more than the 14 teams fighting for those 14 race spots that we're racing around, and what a great problem to have as an endurance racing organizer, really, at the end of the day. So, great job out there for you and the ERA racers there from Esports Race Asylum Team Corvette number 44. And I guess any final remarks or thank yous you'd like to throw out there before we head over and talk with our Overboost Racing team?
Yeah, I want to thank, well, basically everyone, the admin, stream team, the stewards, race directors, everyone who raced, everyone who watched, everyone who supported throughout, whether that's Race Asylum, ORT, wherever you are in the world. A big thank you. And we look forward to seeing you all after the festive period for 2025 and hopefully a cracking season.
Absolutely, and we will talk about 2025 a little bit more here, folks that are still hanging out here in the chat. We still got quite a few viewers hanging out, so we
Yeah, no
appreciate
problem.
that. But we will get through our podium interviews first here, and then we'll hand the floor back over to the IRO racing officials from there, and they can drop whatever tidbits they're willing to drop right now, or pre-registration, so to speak. But let's go ahead and talk with our eventual race winners here, the Overboost Racing team. Absolutely dominating performance here by Jown and the whole group. They've been very dominant all year long, and it was no different here today. But there was definitely some tense moments. They were definitely feeling some pressure from that esports Race Asylum team, very specifically, especially in the middle part of this race, as they were trying to get that lead lap back and put the pressure on. But Overboost Racing Team just had an answer for everything that ERA threw at them here this season. So congratulations to you guys for a great season. Congratulations on the 24-hour SPA win. And congratulations unofficially on the championship title as well. So great drive from you guys. How you feeling after that 24 hours?
We're feeling, thank you. We're feeling very proud of everyone that put the time to practice and to never give up, because at the middle of the championship, we had, like at the beginning, we had a lot of costly mistakes, but nobody backed down, and we came stronger to the last part of the championship, and it paid off. The hard work of everyone at the end of the championship paid off. Everyone practiced a bit. We were always like talking with each other about strategy and to keep each other calm. So there was never anyone alone on the racing. There was always an engineer or someone seeing the race to help. So yeah, so congrats to everyone at our team, to the sponsors, and it was a very, very fun tournament through all the year.
I mean, absolutely. And was there a point, I would say, in the last 8 hours of the 24-hour race here today that you guys started to get concerned or worried that Esports Race Asylum was making that Cinderella comeback?
To be honest, we knew we had the pace if we didn't do any costly mistake. I did one on my stint at 4 a.m. because I was still sleeping, but we had already a nice margin of safety, so we just tried to stay calm. And I don't think anyone, not like disrespecting, but I don't think anyone at our team thought that we were gonna let the win go, because we knew that we were also very strong at this track, and the car wasn't that bad. Like, it wasn't the best but it also wasn't the worst. It was up there. So I don't think anyone was nervous about losing the first place after like the first 3 stints, I think.
Absolutely. I mean, you guys really did dominate the race here today. I think you guys led a little over 23 hours of the 24-hour race throughout the 24-hour period here. But you didn't start up front. You definitely had to gain that position, and then you had to kind of work on that position. And the one thing that I did notice this season from the Overboost Racing group was you guys seem very comfortable leading the race and controlling the pace. Is that correct?
Yeah, because we know that when we are in front, we can like not risk it. Like on the last stint, I wasn't risk it at the beginning. So we feel more comfortable there. Of course, I think everyone does, but I don't think we feel the pressure when we are in front. Like we feel better because we are safe, So yeah. It was always like after we were like 1.5 minutes in front, we were just controlling, not always giving, like pushing and risk an accident or something. So yeah, we were I think we were quite consistent in every stint.
Oh, absolutely, and I know there was a few times in the stream chats there where the racers were coming in and saying these guys are just so consistent. It is so hard. But would you guys slow down just a little bit, right? And it's true. I mean, your consistency from one driver to the next to the next to the next is very on point, and the pace between all of the drivers that were piloting that Lexus here over the 24 hours seemed to have very equal pace as well. So, I mean, roughly, I guess, without, yeah, I mean, you only have to tell what you feel like telling to the viewers and your competitors out here. But I mean, roughly, how many hours do you figure you guys practice and prepare to get ready for these races of a 24-hour magnitude?
In terms of hours, we didn't practice much. Maybe some of the guys on our team that don't do much daily races did some more, because there was a daily C with Spa. So some of the guys did practice a bit more, but most of us are quite used to Spa. We just had to practice like the rain and the timings to use the right tires. That was that was like the part that concerned us the most. The right timings to go to the pits or not, because that can be the difference between going on slicks on heavy weather and bin it. So, but we practiced not that much. We practiced more than normal, of course, because we wanted to win and we knew that we needed to win to have a chance. But it was nothing special.
Well, I mean, it may not seem like that to you guys, but I assure you to the thousands of viewers that tuned in throughout the 24 hours here over the last Saturday and Sunday here. I find that you guys are a very dominating force to be racing against, and I do believe that you guys are the immediate target on the back coming into the 2025 season. So, you came in as a team that maybe felt like you were looked at as a little bit of an underdog, I guess, but you guys definitely came out. You performed well. You showed the racing world out there what the Overboost Racing team can do it in long distance endurance racing. And I mean, cool, calm, collected, very smooth on the wheel of that Lexus all day long. Very few mistakes made by these guys, and that brings them home to about a 2 minute gap, a 2.5 minute gap over the field, and a first place finish here at Spa. So huge race. As commentators, it's a pleasure to watch, teams like IRO Esports and yourselves and all the other teams that are competing in this compete at such a high level, because we've touched on it throughout the broadcast, but you also touched on it here in one of your answers, and Nick touched on it as well in his interview, is, these races are not for the faint of heart. These are extremely grueling on the body. Some of you guys are racing 6-8 hours of the 24-hour race over extended stints. We need to stay hydrated. We also go through the physical toll of dealing with our rigs, our setups, our wheels. Everybody's setup is different. Everybody runs different feedbacks and settings, so the wear and tear on the body. I mean, it's not real life racing, but it is not easy either on the body, the mind, and of course everybody involved behind the scenes. It's not just the racers out here for 24 hours. It is a huge crew behind the scenes. Most of these teams have like John had said, race engineers and behind the scenes. There's never a driver alone in that paddock while there is an active race ongoing, and that is very important. So, you guys look great out there. You're definitely a dominating force, and everybody's going to be looking to take you guys off the top of that list for sure next season. But with all that being said, I mean, congratulations. It's been a great season. It's been a lot of fun watching you guys and watching the competition that you've created in amongst the rest of the racers, trying to find that rhythm, that pace that you guys have, so they can keep up with you guys. And it's been a very well-deserved championship run here for ORT, ladies and gentlemen. So I guess any final remarks you'd like to add, and any shout-outs or thank yous you'd like to throw out, sponsors or friends, family, anything like that?
I'd like to thank to my team and to everyone involved, and to the organization that organized the championship so well. And next year, ORT will be back stronger, and we hope to give a good show the next year also.
Well, we definitely don't doubt that for a second. You put on a great show this season, so I guess really the bigger thing is teams, beef up your bolsters because ORT is coming to defend. That is for sure. But I mean, congratulations, absolutely spectacular season. And Nick or Ray, you want to add anything to that before ORT is finished here?
I think the only thing we can say is congratulations to ORT. I think they've been the team to beat this season. They've definitely faced some decisions have gone against them, and it just shows the strength that they've got as a team. They didn't let it phase them. They knuckled down. They carried on, and at the end of the day, the talent shone through. And in the end, they didn't really make many mistakes. Especially in this last SPA 24-hour race, it was difficult to try and keep up with them, and once they were in the lead, it's very difficult to get it off of them. But yeah, I mean, hats off to them. They're worthy winners, and they definitely deserve the title this season. So congratulations to all of the Overboost racing team.
Are we there yet? We're there, Kings. We're there, buddy. We're there. You know it. Ray, anything you'd like to add to that?
I just obviously wanted to congratulate ORT for a flawless performance the whole season. You are incredible as a team. The support that all you get in stream is every round has been fantastic, and I think that's wonderful for you as a community and for us, obviously providing entertainment. But I just, before I go and cry my eyes out, ridiculous. I just wanted to say thanks to everybody who raced, helped, watched, posted, just was there for everybody, whether it was in a party chat or in a Discord channel or in a driver briefing or, in any capacity. You are the sole reason why this can happen and why it's been such a success. And there is no way on earth that me and Nick could ever say thank you.
Yeah, definitely.
Because
100%.
without any of you, it just wouldn't be a thing. I know it's a hobby that people do in their free time, but the fact that you're willing to give your free time to make it happen is overwhelming. I'm so flaming, nearly proud of my boys in all my teams. I bloody love you. And now I'm going to cry, so
This is the most
fantastic.
emotional I've
Thanks,
ever
everyone.
heard Ray. Wow,
Yeah,
she's
this is something else.
Yeah,
Oh,
wow. Poor girl. We need to give her a hug. Let's get some virtual hugs there. Right? Let's get that
Come
hashtag
on,
hugs
chat.
up
Let's
in the
give
chat.
her like
Absolutely.
virtual hugs. Come on, guys.
I
mean, she's been up the whole 24 hours of this race.
Absolutely. I was just going to say that, she is the heart and soul of what happens behind the scenes at IRO, or a very large part of it, that's for sure, obviously with Nick and a huge team behind them, but she puts 150% effort into every single second of everything that's wrapped around this IRO series. So I understand the emotion from Ray. I totally understand it, and I'm just pleased to know that she feels that everything that they put together this season is a smashing success, and that's really what does come down, and it is important that everybody had a good time, the league, the racers, and the viewers alike. So just massive love out there. The sim racing community is top notch. There isn't any community better in the video gaming world than the sim racing community, in my opinion, and it's just events like this that show it time in and time out. This changes people's lives. We may not realize it, viewers that are watching are like, well, you're just playing video games, guys. You have no idea. If you're not a part of the overall community or some part of the community, you guys do not see what we get to see out of this community. This community is a family. They help each other. I've seen random strangers buy Christmas for random strangers. And I'm not talking just a few presents. I'm talking thousands of dollars. Thousands and thousands of dollars. Why? Because they can, and that community member was in need. The community is bar none, top level. And I understand where Ray's emotion comes from, because that's what she's feeling right now. She is feeling all that love from this great community. So she's very appreciative, and thank you to everybody showing up, because everybody's exhausted right now. I think it's the biggest thing. You know, even Nick was a little emotional after that hard-fought final stint as well, and then jumping straight into interviews, and he's probably got a lot on his mind going right now, and he's probably got a few things left to say. So even I'm a little bit emotional. I've been up for the whole event as well, you know, and it's just fatigue setting in, and you know,
You're a freaking beast, mate.
When you start pulling on those strings, you know, it starts getting everybody. But I'm going to give you the floor, Nick, and we'll let you go ahead and send this thing off here for the 2024 season.
Yeah, I think everything's been covered, but yeah, I think what's been said, you know, thank you to all the participants this year. You've been absolutely top notch. The racing has been top notch. Yeah, I can't really have asked a lot more. You guys are awesome. Moving on to 2025, 15th of December, 8 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. The sign up will go up for the 2025 season. For all the teams that are interested, sign up starts then. We look forward to seeing who's going to be participating next year, and we hope that everyone has a great new year, and we'll get the final results up in due course, and everyone, all the top 3 teams. We mustn't forget the Sector 7 Racing 1 team. They also finished P3 in the championship, based on what happened today, bar any incident reports. So congratulations to them as well. All the teams in the top 3 will get trophies from the IRO. So congratulations to all of you. I will be in touch with every single one of you to arrange delivery of your trophies.
Absolutely, and fantastic to hear, and great job to all 14 of our full-time registered teams here this season that have come in, raced, put their hearts and souls on the line to entertain the masses out there in the Facebook and YouTube world. So we really do appreciate the racers. Thank you to the viewers for hanging out with us all season long, especially this weekend. We had you guys jumping all over the place on YouTube, back and forth between streamers, just to get in all the action, and you didn't hesitate. You showed up big time. Without really final reviewing numbers just on my end of things, the GT45 Gaming page has seen well over 1,500 views in our coverage of the broadcast. So that's all you guys and gals at home showing the love out here. We really appreciate it. And it's that love that's going to continue to take the International Racing Organization to the next level when it comes to popularity, want, and desire to race, and of course, people wanting to come in and watch every time that these guys and gals have a great endurance event coming on. I want to thank IRO staff and officials for putting on such a great event. And one gentleman that seems to get a little bit doesn't get enough love, in my opinion, and doesn't really accept it all that well, is Jaeger. He was our stint 11 and covered the 2 other stints here in the broadcasting booth for us. And typically, Jaeger is the man that is behind the IRO broadcast. He is the one-man production crew. That man single-handedly typically handles all of the production value for the International Racing Organization. Unfortunately for this round of racing, he had another obligation that had come, that was here before this one, so we had to do a little bit of fumbling and jumbling around to make this work. So that's why it was the way it was this weekend. But thank you so much to the fans and the viewers out there for bearing with us, jumping from stream to stream and just showing that love. We will upload my end of all the videos onto the IRO YouTube channel throughout the week here. There is a few of them, so it is going to take a little while to upload all that, but they should all be available on the IRO YouTube channel here within the next 7 days as well from GT45 Gaming. And I would just like to thank Ray and Nick for the opportunity to come into the booth this season and do what we do here at GT45 Gaming and just try to entertain everybody and bring some great racing commentary, family-friendly commentary to the viewers at home as well. And it gave me a greater opportunity to get our Ten Tenths Simracing team on track and involved in the series for a couple of races as well. And it was quite an experience, let me tell you what. We've learned a lot. And Ten Tenths Simracing will be coming into the 2025 IRO season here as well as a registered team. So thank you guys again for providing such a great event. And I know myself and Ten Tenths is looking forward to being on track and back in the booth in the 2025 season as well. So thank you for that, and thank you for my co-host Cupcake today, coming in absolutely killing it in the booth there with all that very, very beautiful insight and information there, catching me when I was sleeping. Absolutely great job. Appreciate you, Cupcake. Thank you for showing and hanging out with us here for a few hours today.
Yeah, you are very welcome, and I just want to thank everybody as well for welcoming me into, co-commentating with Ghost here for the, I would say, good 5.5 hours of the race total. It was an honor, Ghost, I will say. And I definitely hope to maybe co-commentate with you next season. I am signing up for IRO, so maybe I could hop in between stints and give you some insight and
There we go.
kind of help you out with the commentary. And yeah, cheers to the chat. Cheers to Ray. Love you, girl. I do want to say the support that she gives everybody during the race is unmatched.
Absolutely.
And lastly, congratulations to ORT. You guys were absolutely dominant in the 24 hours of Spa and taking over the championship. So awesome job for you guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in. We are going to send the stream off with a little bit of an exit song for everybody. It's a very fitting song for the case at need, and that will conclude our 2024 season here at IRO. So thank you all again for tuning in all year long. Have a happy holiday season and a happy new year. If we do not see you before then, we definitely look forward to seeing you after the new year. And I expect to see GT45 Gaming back in the booth here with IRO for the 2025 season. We look forward to it. And it's all because of this amazing community that keeps driving us to come back and doing what we do here as well. So keep killing it out there. Be safe this holiday season. Enjoy that good quality family time. And remember, life is short. Take advantage of it. Make sure you tell your mom and your dad that you love them. Make sure you tell all of those important people in your life that you love them. And over the Christmas holidays, I do challenge every single individual viewer to do one act of kindness for a complete stranger. It doesn't have to be a large act of kindness, but I do challenge everyone in my community to make sure that they do one good act of kindness out there in their community throughout the holiday season, because there's most certainly people out there that could use a little bit of kindness from some strangers. So we love you all. We appreciate you all. Remember, you all matter. We're all important. It's okay to not be okay. So please do reach out if you need to talk. This is a tough time of year with the winter time coming and setting in. This is a very, very tough time of year in the community. My door is open. I'm always here to listen. And I have great community members and admin staff that are also here to listen too. So please don't keep it in. Reach out. Let the community help. Let them take that stress off you. Let them vent it out. It will help dramatically. It helps you focus on what's going on at the task at hand as well. So don't keep it in. You've got family. You've got people that care about you, and you don't even realize it. And most importantly, everybody, stay winning. I mean, right? That is the most important thing. Thank you to the International Racing Organization for being here tonight. Thank you from GT45 Gaming. And we'll catch you all on the next one in 2025. Enjoy the exit, ladies and gentlemen.
Goodbye, guys. Thank you.
like iron from the fire, getting stronger. This is how legends are made. Above it all, untouchable, a new animal. This is how legends are made. This is how legends are made. This is how legends are made.